A retired mathematician bought this rotting cabin for $100, and what he did to it was mind-blowing. In the middle of the woods in rural Missouri, an old cabin slowly rots away. When Richard Eichen visits to take a look, he can barely tell where the trash ends and the building begins. But with a little imagination and a lot of hard work, he will transform it into something amazing. Eichen is a man of many and varied talents. He has a PhD in mathematics and another in chemical engineering. What's more, he has a medical degree to boot. Amazingly, he's also found time to write a book and moonlight as an opera singer before rekindling a love of competitive sports at the ripe age of 65. Yet, despite all of these impressive life skills, Eichen himself is strikingly down to earth. Amusingly, he even refers to himself on Facebook as the hillbilly vegan. And, like many people wanting to escape our hectic modern world, he has always dreamt of one day owning his own humble abode in a forest somewhere. However, Eichen soon discovered that his dream came at a price. He began searching for a cabin, but he quickly found out that all of them came along with an astronomical price tag. Fate, however, intervened and offered him an opportunity too good to resist. In Missouri, Billy Howell was trying to work out what to do with an abandoned cabin on his land. He had lived in the shack with his wife for about 40 years, but the couple had moved out at some point in the 1990s. Since then, the cabin has been left to rot and decay. So it must have been a great relief when Howell saw an advert posted by Eichen. Howell quickly replied saying Eichen could take the shack off his hands for free. However, when Eichen came to see the building, he found a wreck covered in rubble with a tumble-down roof. Nevertheless, he saw its potential and gave Howell $100 for the structure. As the new owner of the cabin, Eichen soon got to work. Now his research revealed that the property was likely built in the 1830s, so he knew he was working with something of an antique. Slowly then, he began to pick through the debris and reveal the treasure hiding underneath. The cabin was a real find, Eichen told SF Globe. It was 2 stories with a very large pen of about 21 to 22 square feet. The material was massive white oak beams, hand-hewn and squared with half-dovetail notches. Most logs were in excellent condition. However, there was one problem with the cabin. It was in the wrong place. Indeed, Eichen and his wife Mary had already fallen in love with a plot of land in the Ozark Mountains. Mary, in fact, was so taken with the spot that she had cried tears of happiness when they discovered it. Undaunted, Eichen decided that there was a simple solution. He painstakingly cataloged each and every piece of the cabin, transporting the entire dismantled structure to his dream location. Then, work on the restoration began. The Eichens, moreover, knew that they wanted a cellar under the property where they could store provisions and wine. They subsequently started digging, but they soon hit a snag. At just 6 feet, they struck bedrock and could go no further. As a solution then, the house was elevated by a few feet. Eichen's overall aim, meanwhile, was to reconstruct the cabin as authentically as possible. So, with the exception of a concrete floor in the cellar, everything was made from natural materials. So, when he needed new pieces of wood for the construction, Eichen sourced them from trees growing nearby. White oak, hickory, ash, and cedar were all used to restore the cabin to its former glory. And although Eichen regretted having to take materials from living trees, he told SF Globe that he considered these instances to be unfortunate but necessary sacrifices. Slowly then, the cabin began to take its shape. A rustic porch was added to the outside of the building, an ideal place to listen to the bullfrogs and songbirds, according to Eichen. Eventually, though, he plans to use the front porch as a bandstand for musical shows. The bulk of the cabin was made up of solid logs, however, there were gaps between them due to their old and rustic nature. So to fill them, Eichen used chicken wire covered in daub. But even this, he says, was done in a traditional style, with a daub made up from antiquated formula of cement, sand, and lime. Inside, Eichen built a Rumford hearth, a style of fireplace commonly found in the early 19th century and known to be particularly efficient at heating rooms. Indeed, the Eichens one apparently emits so much heat that they are able to cook vegetables by merely arranging them on the edges of the hearth. Although the cabin is basic, Aiken made his own mark by including lots of incredible detail. A fallen oak trunk was used to craft a set of stairs into the loft, while all the windows and doors were constructed by a craftsman and shipped in. Even the metal hardware, in fact, was made from hand-wrought iron. So in 2013, 10 years after Aiken started the project, the cabin was finally finished. With the help of his family and some Amish people who lived nearby, Aiken had managed to create his dream home. Today, the cabin serves as a cozy retreat for the Aiken family, and unsurprisingly, it gets plenty of use. In a display of pride over his father's accomplishments, Aiken's son subsequently posted some images of the cabin on Reddit. Commenters of the site were amazed by the renovation project, with several expressing the desire to do something similar themselves. What's more, there were even more inquiries from users keen to know if they could rent the cabin out. For Aiken, however, the whole experience has been a philosophical one. Although the process was sometimes tough, he came to view the project as something akin to meditation. "I hope I shall never finish working with this log cabin," he told the SF Globe. "Never stop the silence."